I really enjoyed the movie. I was looking forward to it. I love the stuff that you showed at WonderCon.
Cool.
And I was like, oh, this looks like a cool movie.
Yeah.
I've never been a huge disaster movie fan.
Me neither.
But this isn't really a disaster movie.
I agree. I never really set out to make a disaster
Right.
movie. You know, I wanted to make a good movie, and I wanted to make a movie that, you know, was going to carve out its own place in the summer of 2015, where there are so many big movies. But I was never really focused on just making a disaster movie. And my favorite quote-unquote disaster movie, people don't even really consider a disaster movie, which was Titanic. So, you know, I think that's a disaster movie in the sense that it's like obviously a big traumatic event, but what you take away from that movie is the emotional experience, you know, the love story. You do get the sense of scale and, you know, all of those things and the epic nature of the events, but you really care about the people, and that's what the story's about. And so, you know, if that's your touchstone for a disaster movie, when you go to make a movie that's like that, you go about it in a similar way, where I wanted to make a movie about people that I really cared about, that you know, was about a family that was basically trying to put itself back together, and then that's all amidst this big disaster, this big event. But the movie's not about the event. The movie is about the people, and the event's what kind of causes it to happen.
How they survived, how these characters survived in this event.
How they survive and how they put themselves back together as a family, really. And the catalyst is actually the event. And, you know, the movie's really about perseverance, and the point of it is that bad things happen in real life, you know. People get hurt, people get lost, you lose loved ones, and the idea is that, you know, none of us are untouchable by that. Like, things are going to happen in our lives, and the most important thing is really focusing on, once a bad thing does happen, how do you get past it? How do you pick yourself back up? And for me, it was, you know, as much a reminder to myself as it was the message to the audience of the most important thing in life is, you know, not the car you drive and not the sneakers that you just bought, because I buy incredibly ridiculously expensive sneakers, but it's about the people that you love and the people you care about, and how when you do get knocked down, those people will help you back up. And they'll help you persevere through any traumatic event, whether it's a natural disaster or not. And so, you know, to me, the movie is hopefully a richer experience than just most disaster movies are, because I didn't set out just to make stuff blowing up and destroying.
Well, so you mentioned that the characters are really important. You know, obviously, if the characters work, then everything else is going to work too.
Yeah.
What did you see in the script? What did you like about these characters that you said, this is a guy I want to spend 2 hours with. This is a woman, a young girl I want to spend time with, and what did you want to explore with their characters?
Well, you know, what I look for in my lead characters, honestly, is either an internal conflict or a flaw or something that is dramatic that's within them that they're struggling with. I made 2 movies last year, San Andreas and Incarnate, and both of those have lead characters who are damaged, who are struggling to deal with events in their past. And with this movie in particular, what I loved about Ray Gaines was that he was a guy that had never really dealt with the trauma of the death of a loved one, and especially because he feels guilty for that death, that happened on his watch, and that he's a first responder by trade. He rescues people, and that's his job, and he's amazing at his job. He's the best. He's got this amazing reputation, and yet he couldn't save his own daughter, and this haunts him. And what I loved about the writing was that it wasn't overt as you're watching the movie. It wasn't like scene 1, here's this guy. It was, here's Dwayne Johnson, he's a hero, he's great. And as you peel back the layers of who this character was and is, you go, oh, there's something more going on here. There's something really missing. Like, and the first thing, and it was a little nerve-wracking when we were shooting it, but the first time you ever see that there were 2 daughters is in these photographs. But we've never even mentioned a second daughter. He calls his daughter, who he's gonna go see at his ex-wife's new boyfriend's place, and then you're seeing photographs and there's 2 daughters and you don't even mention it. And so it's this slow thing that comes out of, oh my God, there was a second daughter and this happened. And so it was really intriguing to me and a very satisfying exercise in a character study and, you know, filmmaking to build a character with Dwayne that was flawed and had issues that he had to overcome. It was very blue collar and very grounded, and I really love working with Dwayne, and I think he's like a really natural hero in a lot of ways. But what I loved about this character was there was a complexity to him. There was a certain grounded aspect to him, and Dwayne can kind of do no wrong. He can play as big as over the top characters as Hercules and Hobbs, and I also know that he can play this, but I hadn't seen him do it. So I was really excited because I was like, no one's seen this out of Dwayne, and I know he has amazing acting chops, and I want to see that. I want to see this guy, overcome these like big traumatic events. It just makes his character so interesting because he's kind of like amazing but yet damaged.
Yeah, well, let me ask you that because this is your second time working with Dwayne, and I think you hit on something. I mean, he's pretty remarkable.
Sure.
I mean, not just.
You mean in real life?
The whole thing. I mean,
the whole thing.
Not only is he obviously a great human being and just a super nice guy.
Yeah.
I've met him many times. We know that. But then if you take obviously the hard work and the physical and everything through football and through professional wrestling, but then to be able to then make that into an acting career.
Yeah.
And not only be successful, but be like the most successful at it.
Yeah.
And not only be sort of that, new millennium Arnold.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
But also The Rock can act. Arnold couldn't act. The
Right.
Rock can really bring some. I've seen him do it in certain films. So he really is the total package in a ridiculous way.
Yeah, but
As a director, what is it that you enjoy about working with him as an actor?
Well, I think he is everything you're saying. He's amazing and has a very rich history. I like working with him because he has the same goal as me, which is just to make the best movie that we can make. And he is all about communication. He's all about hard work. He's all about, putting the time into getting it right. And he faces challenges head on. Some people shrink in those moments. Some people say, "This is the best I can do. Get away. That's it. That's all you're going to get out of me." I've seen it all. Like at this point now, I've done 4 movies. I've seen like this range of very talented people accept, push off, whatever the challenges in front of them. The reason I think you're seeing all this about Dwayne is that I literally have never seen him do that. I've never seen him push off a challenge. He likes it. It helps him rise to the occasion if you're straightforward with him in the sense of like, if this is this scene's amazing. And then if he hears that, he's like, then we're making the scene amazing. Because he knows you have a clear vision for it. You're going to be there for him to help him. He's going to be there to help you. And so our collaboration, though obviously there's a lot of trust, there's also a shared vocabulary in terms of succeeding and stepping up and moving your career to the next place. And I look at every movie as that. How do I move my career to the next place? How do I do something bigger and better and obviously more sophisticated and all of those things? So I think to get back to your question, which is just that, what's it like for me working with him? I have a level of trust with him that I don't have with any other actor, especially of his caliber. We have a similar work ethic and I think of kind of a blue collar background. So we both don't take this stuff for granted. We're not here to kind of like screw off and just party all this away. We want to do something, want to leave something behind, which is great movies or great performances or whatever it is. And I just think we're pretty honest with each other. We're so different in a lot. He's so extrovert, I'm so introvert. He's so big, I'm so little. He's so bald, I have hair-ish. Anyway, but
I know where you're going with that. Real quick, last thing I wanted to ask was Journey 3. Is that happening with the two of you, or is it still in the works?
So the concept was to do Journey 3 and Journey 4 together. And Journey 3, there's a script. And Journey 4, there's not a script. So we're talking about it, we're working through it. It's one of those things where you have to be open to it and stay engaged, which I am, and I'm very proud of Journey. Like I feel in a lot of ways that even though I didn't make the first one, I kind of like helped brand this thing and create this thing and like blow it out a little bit. And I was very proud of that movie, and especially because the first one had come out like 6 or 7 years before, and there was a different star, and I had a lot of challenges in trying to make that a successful movie. And we made a lot of money, and there was a lot of people that are big fans of that movie and that potential franchise. And I'll just say this, that in order to do that right, and what I think is the right way to do it. The tone has to grow in a way, and the movie has to mature in a way, because that's what I've done with every movie I've done. I started with Cats and Dogs 2, which was very young and much younger than a film that I truly ever wanted to do, but it was such a great opportunity, and I got to play with a lot of toys and a great cast and, you know, a lot of visual effects. But then I took the opportunity to step up the age of my audience and the maturity of my movie with Journey, which people still kind of think of it as a kiddie movie, but it's actually not a little kid movie, it's a family movie. And then I moved into my next movie with this movie as a truly 4-quadrant movie, and that's where I want to play. So I'm open to doing them, absolutely. I love them. I love working with Dwayne and Josh and Michael and Louis. And I mean, it was like a great cast and an amazingly fun time, and like an actual truly, truly enjoyable time making a movie. But we have to do it in the right way. And once you've achieved something like San Andreas, and you're like, this is a 4-quadrant, big, you know, mature tone, but still fun action adventure film, you want to stay in that zone. So I'm only kind of cautious with it because I want to make sure they can go there. And I think everybody does. But it just takes time to kind of mature the franchise, and at the same time, obviously, you want to see, well, what else is going on, and while that's getting ready. And so it's one of those things we constantly kind of work on, and it's obviously it's in the conversation, and it's not going away anytime soon, because I think Dwayne and everybody has the same passion for it. But I don't want to rush it, and I want to make sure it's right.
Well, you're in a good place to be, man. I couldn't think of a better place to be as a young director.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank you.